What's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Burb Files. Just a quick catch up on what we did on the last couple of episodes. We got the front of the chassis and this part, well pretty much up until where we need to do the C-notch work on the Suburban chassis. All that's primed and behind it's primed. Where we are going to do the fab work we left for a while, just want to suss out what exactly I want to do. I've managed to get some paint on there, and I managed to find some more paint for painting the rest of this and the gearbox cross member. So that's what we're going to do today. After that, it's pretty much waiting on some parts and stuff. There's a few little niggly bits I can clean up and paint, but not too much more. So I'm going to go ahead today and get stuck in, get a coat on these, let that dry overnight, and then we'll see what little bits we can do in the morning. Maybe another coat in the morning. So we'll see how it turns out. So we'll get this paint on. Alrighty guys, so the first coat is on. Obviously you guys know I already had painted the front part, so just the chassis rails and the cross member here. The gearbox cross member, so that's got a coat on it. So let those dry overnight and reassess tomorrow morning, probably do another coat over it all. While I was at it, I did those little ABS sensors that I cleaned up the other day. There's one there and one hanging there. It's just nice little things to tidy up. So we'll check in tomorrow and see. Alrighty team, back again. It's been a couple of days now. I didn't get the paint on the next morning, but I did get some on last night. So the day after that. So I chucked another coat over there and also re-scotched all this front up, how it had the satin black on it. So the paint that I managed to find was gloss black 2-pack, so went over the top of everything, just did another coat over it all, so it's all nice and shiny and gloss. So it's actually looking pretty sweet, super happy with how it's looking now, and I can actually start doing some of the smaller reassembly bits. So like those airbag sensors, I can bolt them back on, all these fuel lines and brake lines that go along the front half of the chassis here and up, I can get all those back in. All the little clips, like this little bracket, gave that a clean up and a repaint the other day. They can go back on, that holds the fuel lines. So I can start cleaning up and painting some of the little niggly bits and get them back on while I wait for all the parts for the front suspension and whatnot. So with all the little niggly brackets and stuff I want to tidy up and make look nice, there's these little galvanized brackets, and these just covered the plugs for the O2 sensors on the exhaust. So like this one was bolted here, and the other one over there I think was on this side here, bolted up under here. So they just got a bit rusty, not very nice looking, so I'm just going to give these a sand and a Scotch-Brite and then just hit them with some bright zinc paint just to try and make them look pretty and last a bit longer as well, bit of zinc paint on them. So this is how one of those little brackets turned out. So it's just like a little cover that bolts on. So just all the little things like that. So I've got the airbag sensors back on, re-clipped on there. And then I think it's actually a little bracket that bolts onto here that holds that. I think it's up there somewhere. I'll have to look through the photos, make sure it all goes back how it was. Just waiting for these other ones that want to dry. Let's put some rust converter on it. But little things like these little plastic clips were on the side of the chassis. I don't actually know what they were for. All it says SJL. So I don't know what that means. But I just gave them a Scotch-Brite and a repaint white because it was white plastic but it's gone all faded and yuck. And they just clip on the side. So all those little brackets and trinkets should help make it all look super specco once it's all together. So you either be back out tonight or tomorrow morning. Sweet. Alrighty, so I managed to sneak a few more hours in today on the Chev. Both these brackets are ready for when the O2 sensors go back in. But just this morning, I spent a couple of hours, took a bit longer than I thought it would. Just pulled the brake lines and fuel lines apart and scotch brighted each fuel line. One of the brake lines was a bit surface rusty, so just repainted that silver. And cleaned up each bracket too, took each of the plastic clips off and just cleaned them up with a little wire brush. Get it all looking nice. So it's just head over this side. Got the gearbox cross member bolted in as well. Cleaned up all those bolts, repainted those bolts. So it definitely looks nice and tidy. So we'll see maybe later on today. I'd like to get a bit more of these little front bits done. I could probably bolt the steering box back on as well. So I might look into doing that now maybe. Alright team, so I got the steering box set up back in, these lines in as well, cleaned them up, cleaned the little bracket inside there, all of that's looking pretty spick. Got the pitman arm mounted up as well, so everything's looking pretty sweet so far. Just another little cover, this little heat shield for where the exhaust is, there's a cable that runs under there. So it's all looking pretty good, so I'll probably call it for this episode. It was a bit of a slow one because it was sort of on and off with like a little bit drips and drabs of time spent on it, so it was a bit awkward to try and make a nice smooth episode out of it. And make sure you check out the next one because we're going to try and sink into it with a decent amount of work while we wait for some more parts to come in. So cheers for watching and see you in the next one.